Thanks for swinging by, everybody. I'm going to start maybe a little longer form video today. And have some decent success with the shorts and everything, but I wanted to make something a little more long form and, half an hour-ish. And I figured, why not? We can do a lot more with some long form content, making this kind of stuff. These are some, from my coloring book that I made. I haven't published it yet or anything, but these are some couple illustrations from that book. Something we could get, a little closer to this level of quality, because this is still, 3 or 4 hours, 5, 6 hours even, and I'm not going to torture you guys that long. And, I figure in the meantime, while I'm drawing, maybe I'll tell you a little bit about the thing that I'm drawing, or I can tell you a little bit about myself, or my likes or dislikes, my interests, all sorts of stuff, talk about things, all sorts of things, who knows, things going on in the world, and pop culture, current events, that kind of thing, something to pass the time. I'm kind of a goofball, and that's okay, if you ask me, so let's see what we can pull off. There's this, when I was in college, one of the images I didn't like doing life drawing, not because of disdain or dislike for it, but I thought it was boring. And I liked taking my life drawing and making like characters of some kind out of them. And one of the ones that I had some success with was drawing a life drawing of a person that was lying down, just with their ribs showing and everything, so you can get the form of the body and all that. And I made it so that they were lying down, but they were enveloped in a tree, a really kind of gnarly looking tree. And I turned that tree into cans of big drums of oil that were also enveloped in this tree that were leaking out, and I called it Nature Will Always Win. And I was thinking maybe doing something along those lines again of that. So let's start. A lot of things that you do in the art world are weird, A lot of people think, well, artsy people are always kind of weird people. And a lot of times they are kind of weird. Not in a bad way, but just in a non-conventional one, I suppose, compared to everybody else and how they operate. And that's okay. Everybody's got something. Some people are good at sports. Some people are good at writing, and some people are great with animals. That's what I say. And anytime somebody's like, wow, that's amazing, I just tell them, well, everybody's got something, Everybody has got something. And I believe that. I believe everybody's got some kind of gift. So, on a normal illustration, something I was going to be spending a lot of time on, you would start it with a very light pencil outline first, and then you would trace over the pencil and erase it once the ink dried, which doesn't take long. But since I'm not going to be doing that long of a project, and I'm not going to be spending the mental, give a shitness, I guess, about it. This is just going to be quickish going by. So I'm drawing a little goofy tree here in the background. And then in the foreground, I'm going to put what I'm thinking, probably like the side of a tree, like if you're going to, if you see the whole tree and then you pan over so that you just see like half of it, and it's going to have a human body like enveloped into it. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's funny, I've had a YouTube channel for, I don't know, probably about 5-6 years. I think I got it during the lockdowns, probably like a lot of people did. And I started off with some artsy stuff, and then just never really stuck with it. Life got in the way, kid, got custody of my son, and work, and just all that kind of thing. Some other outside factors as well, but for the most part, I didn't stick with it, I guess is the best way to put it. But this channel, it's the same channel, but this run, I started sticking almost primarily to artistic endeavors. I started by, I work at a liquor store, and you know, it's not super busy, and when it is, it's quick work, but it allowed me time to draw a lot. So I would draw these doodles. I actually got them right here. I would draw these doodles, one a shift pretty much, and then I'd put them up on my shorts, and I would improv a story on the spot. And yeah, they got some views. Some of them would do okay, some of them wouldn't, you know. And one day, I told myself I have to stick with this every day. And one day, I couldn't. Something popped up, and I wasn't able to do one. And I was like, son of a gun, you know, I'm gonna break my run of doing one every day. So I'd found out shortly before that how to remix an old video into a short. So I did that, and of one of my old time-lapse videos, and it got like a ton of views. And I was like, well, that's weird, you know. I thought it was just kind of a fluke, so I didn't think anything of it. And the next day I happened to run out of time again, so I did it again, and it got a ton of views too, even more than the other one. So it made me think, well, you know, I wonder if the people just like the time-lapse stuff more. You know, I mean, for one, you know, it probably holds your attention a little more because you don't got to listen to anything. The doodle stories that I made, you did have a story, and they were only about a minute and a half long. But, you know, sometimes people can't pay attention that long in this day and age. And that's whatever, that is what it is. But, yeah, so I started doing the time-lapse ones more, and then I started coming up with time-lapse ones every day. And, you know, they seemed to get more and more and more and more views. And that was great. And please, people, if you're new or whatever, you know, like, subscribe, share, that would be great. Just starting to build her up. Obviously, the more I do this, the better off I'll get, you know, I'll get at it. I'm looking for editing software that I can get on my Linux-based computer and, you know, start editing a little bit. It'd be nice to have like an intro that fades in and out. And then what I'd like to do is make 2 or 3 hour-long, you know, drawing sessions like this a week, and then take those and combine them together for one long time lapse that I can talk over, and yeah, and go from there. That would be nice. Baby steps though. I'm not the most computer savvy person in the world, but that doesn't mean I'm incapable of learning, and I know enough about it to kind of stumble my way through it. And so that's what I'm doing. So, you know, the longer you stick with me, the better off it'll get, everybody. I promise you that. I'm drawing this. Excuse me. I'm drawing this. We've got the tree in the background right here. We'll do a couple more, you know. And I'm doing this tree trunk right now that's enveloped this body right here that I'm drawing. And, you know, I think of this world as like some world where the plant life took over or something. Took over the world and enveloped everybody. And there's nothing they could do about it. Put his arm up here. Arm up here. And make it so like it's getting busted up. Yeah, so, you know, I've seen a lot of these kind of channels on the line, people far better than me, and I try to click on them and do whatever I can, you know, and to help support these people, you know, and maybe a little karmic, universal karma will come back and and it'll land on me too, you know. That'd be nice. But yeah, you know, I try to tell my kid in this day and age kind of stuff he's learning in school and the kind of stuff that he's going to be dealing with in the future when it comes to artificial intelligence, when it comes to, you know, computer technology in general, robots, just all of it. You know, I'm kind of scared for him because there's this world that, you know, I can't help him really. You know, I feel like I can't, at least, just because, like, you know, it's all new to me too, the AI and the technology and everything. And, you know, I hope he can navigate through it. And the best I can tell him is, you should, you know, learn how to do something in these fields. So I try to encourage some kind of, you know, online growth, you know, something to do with some kind of job in the future. You know, I tell him, just look at the people, you know, he's, you know, getting close to teenage years, and I tell him, look at the stuff you watch, you know, you watch Flamingo and all these guys and the Roblox crap, you know, and just all that kind of stuff, and it's basically just reactions, you know, these loud people making annoying noises at the top of their lungs, you know, the kind of crap a kid would like. So I tell him, man, you need to start doing that. Start making, you know, you're already up there doing it. You're up there playing it, making crazy noises. And I said, man, once you're old enough, get you a camera and you can start making crazy noises and be a bazillionaire by the time you're 17, you know? Put me in a good old folks home. That's what I'm talking about. So we're making this right now. We got the tree in the background, we got the foreground, and that's our basic setup right now. Now we can start going over it with a little more finer detail and thicken it up and whatnot. I kind of like a bold, you know, outline with a lot of detail inside when I'm working on stuff. A little longer pace. Looking for the right pen to use. There we go. Oh wait. So yeah, it'd be nice if my kid can get into that on a ground level, on a you know, on that level. It'd be really nice. So as a parent, you worry. I remember thinking when I had him, well, I'll encourage the military, because that's kind of a regret I have in my life, that I didn't put more effort into doing that. You know, around 9/11, you know, I was in college, and I really thought about it. You know, I was pissed off like a lot of people, and but like a ding dong, I went to college. I told myself, you know, a big part of it, most of it was for a girl, because I was simping for her at the time, and like a lot of guys do at that age, I thought we were in love and it was going to last forever, and it didn't. You know, what's funny is we lived together and we're passionately in love for, you know, from 2000 until 2003, when we both turned 21. Me, and then her birthday was the day after mine. She turned 21. And then it ended quickly after. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. Looking back at it as an old fart now, I look back at it and I go, well, that's good that it happened, because you don't know shit at that age. No offense to anybody that age. Don't get me wrong, you know stuff, but there's a lot of stuff you don't know. Just like there's a lot of stuff I don't know right now, you know? I'm in my 40s, and it's like, compared to how I was in my 20s, I'm a rocket surgeon, you know, but maybe in my 60s I'll look back in my 40s and go, wow, you didn't know anything, guy. You didn't know nothing, you know? So I think it's all a matter of perspective. I remember when I worked out in North Dakota, you know, I had my son in 2012-ish, and sorry, I got allergies right now, but I had my son in 2012-ish, and live in a small town, and there's not a lot of job opportunities up here, so I was always cooking and bartending, because no matter what was going on in the world, people were drinking, you know, oh, things are good, let's go have a beer, oh, things are bad, let's go have a beer, that kind of mentality, and it's been a solid one to this day, honestly. But after I had my son, I was like, I can't afford to support him and his mom and everything off of cooking wages, crappy cooking wages, almost 15 years ago. And at the time, there was an oil boom going on in North Dakota. So, not knowing anything about that kind of stuff, I packed up, crossed my fingers, and went out there and made a go of it, and ended up staying out there for almost 4 years, working construction and whatnot. Nothing directly for the oil companies, but construction in the oil arena, I guess you could say. Most of our construction consisted of work for the oil companies. So this is a felt pen. It's a little easier when it comes to certain things. But yeah, I learned a lot of stuff out there, and I'm happy I did it. It's crazy what you do once you have a kid, the kind of things you're capable of doing. All of a sudden, it's go time, stuff serious. I imagine anybody that's had a kid can relate to that. But, yeah. Wasn't a lot of job opportunities up here, so went out there and did that for a while, came back, and got custody of my son after some situations went down. It's the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. But it's also made me think, I'm back to the, well, how am I going to support my kid? And I told myself, it's time to start trying to do something with your art, Avery. So here we are. And, it's a blind journey, and we'll see what happens, and hopefully I'm good enough to garner some support from people. And, yeah. So I figure my idea is I've been paying attention to my YouTube channel on a professional level for about 5 weeks now. If you go back and look at all my videos, I have a lot of shorts, and they've been going back for a few years, but you can tell a lot of them